Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. We'll hear from The Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, have you homemakers learned how to stretch red ration stamps? Well, it's an art in itself, but a simple one if you use products like Pabstet, the delicious, nourishing cheese food. For Pabstet is inexpensive. It costs only a few cents and just 3 red ration points per package. And it's a wonderfully good-tasting extender for a host of plain but satisfying foods. One good example of the way Pabstet turns an ordinary dish into a real family treat is macaroni with Pabstet. Or serve it melted into a smooth cheese sauce with leftovers of meat or fish or vegetables. And see how that unique cheddar cheese flavor satisfies family appetites. Yes, Pabstet melts and toasts and slices in a variety of tempting ways. And every way you serve it, you're helping to supply many milk nutrients your family needs. Milk protein, milk minerals, food energy, vitamin A and vitamin G that's also called riboflavin. Ask your dealer for Pabstet, the delicious, highly digestible cheese food. Pabstet is an economical red stamp value. Now for the Great Gildersleeve. Gildersleeve has a problem, and the problem is his nephew Leroy. There have been signs of trouble, a certain lack of respect at times, complaints now and then from the neighbors, and then suddenly...
Hey, you!
The time has come to face it.
Look here, Gildersleeve. This time I caught him.
Ouch!
Hooker, I thought I told you never to darken my door.
I didn't come here to darken your door, Gildersleeve. I've come here as a representative of the law.
Let go. I didn't mean to do it. Piggy dared me.
Unhand the boy, Hooker. He's my nephew, and I'll handle this.
I'll see that you do, because the law has ways of dealing with vandalism, you know.
Vandalism? It was nothing but a boy's prank.
Yeah, that's right. It was just a boyish prank.
Quiet, you.
In my opinion, Gildersleeve, you're nurturing a first-class case of juvenile delinquency there.
Yeah, that's all it was. Just juvenile delinquency.
Quiet, you.
And it's no wonder. Anybody who goes tearing around the way you do, backing into people and smashing their cars...
That's neither here nor there, and I did not back into you. And don't try to take it out on the boy. I'll pay for the broken window, Hooker. When it comes to the care and feeding of children, I don't need any advice from you.
You owe me a bumper.
You owe me a fender. Good day.
That's telling him, Unc. Boy, you certainly told him.
Young man, come into my study.
But, Unc, I didn't mean to do it. Piggy dared me. He made me do it, honest. It was nothing but a boyish prank, Unc, like you said.
Close the door. Now,
Yes, sir.
you know what happens to boys who go around destroying property? Do you?
Yes, sir. I mean, no, sir.
They start out with little things like this, and they go from bad to worse. They start hanging around drugstores. They fall into bad company. The first thing you know, they're smoking cigarettes.
Oh, I wouldn't ever smoke, Unc.
I hope not. But that's only the beginning.
Piggy tried to get me to once, but I wouldn't. I told him it wouldn't be right.
I'm glad to hear it, because once you...
Smoking's bad for you. It stunts your growth.
That's right. It's very bad.
Then why do you smoke, Unc?
We're not talking about me, Leroy. We're talking about you.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to impress upon you, Leroy, the seriousness of what you've done. A broken window may seem a small thing in itself, but it could be the first step in a life of crime.
You're right, Unc. I'm sorry. I'll try to do better.
Well, I certainly hope you will, my boy.
Guess I'm just no good.
Oh, well, I guess we're both a little to blame.
That's right.
You don't have to agree with me. But I realize now I haven't spent as much time with you as perhaps I should. You know, I think we ought to try to get to understand each other a little bit, Leroy, don't you?
How do you mean, Unc?
Well, I mean, do things together, read things together, go places together.
Go where?
Well, I don't know. We might go on hikes together.
You mean it?
Would you like that?
Can Piggy go?
Piggy? Well, I guess so, if it's all right with his mother.
Oh, boy, wait till I tell him.
Yeah, wait a minute. I didn't say right this minute.
Pack a lunch, Bertie. Unc Piggy and I are going on a hike. Yay!
I guess we're going on a hike.
Well, we're all set, Unc, aren't we, Piggy? Oh, boy, we sure are. Let's go, Unc.
Hey, wait a minute. Bertie, how many hard-boiled eggs did you put in the lunch basket?
6, Mr. Gildersleeve.
6? Let me see. There's Leroy and Piggy and myself.
Yes, sir. 1 egg for each of the boys and 4 for you.
Oh, that's how it goes, huh? Well, I guess that's all right.
Can we start now, Unc?
Yes.
Oh, boy, come on, Piggy.
Yeah, wait a minute. There's one thing that must be understood clearly before we leave. Leroy?
Yes, sir?
Piggy?
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve?
We're going on this hike as if we were all in the Army.
Did you rent a Jeep?
Don't be smart, young man, and don't you encourage him, Piggy. We're going to run this hike along military lines, and I'm going to be the commanding officer. You boys are the men in my squad. Now tell me, Piggy, what's the first thing a man learns in the Army?
How to make his bed.
No. Leroy, what's the first thing a man learns in the Army?
How to spit through his teeth.
Young man, this hike can stop right here.
Oh, gee, Unc, please, I'm sorry.
Well, all right. The first thing you learn in the Army is to obey orders. Now, when I give an order on this hike, I want it obeyed. And I want it obeyed promptly without an argument. Is that clear?
Yes, Mr. Gildersleeve. I get it.
All right, then we can start. Forward! Oh, for heaven's sake.
Yoo-hoo, Throckmorton.
Oh, hello, Leela. We were just going off for a little hike, trying to get Leroy interested in nature.
Well, now, that's just the thing. My sister's little boy, Michael, is with me for the day, and I know he'd just love to go on the hike with you, wouldn't you, Michael?
I'm perfectly willing to go, Aunt Leela, if you think best. Oh, for corn's sake.
Leroy, well, we'd be glad to take Michael, Leela, but don't you think he's a little young for a long hike? We're going up to Shroom Point, and that's quite a long way.
Yeah, it's a heck of a long ways, Mrs. Ransom. I almost get tired myself going there. Oh, boy, me too.
Oh, well, I won't worry about that. I'm sure you boys will be able to figure out some way to take care of little Michael if he gets too worn out. Can't you, Throckmorton?
Well,
I knew it. Now, you boys just go on and hike your heads off, you hear? Michael, be sure and have a nice time, and don't strain yourself, and don't forget to thank Mr. Gildersleeve and the boys when you get home. Goodbye, everybody. Bon voyage.
But Leela...
Bye, Mrs. Ransom.
Michael. Well, forward, march. Here's a beautiful spot, fellas. Suppose we stop for a minute and give some of our soldiers a chance to rest. I imagine you're a little tired, aren't you, Piggy?
I should say not, Mr. Gildersleeve. I'm as fresh as a daisy.
Daisy. Well, I'm sure the other boys are tired, the way we've been tearing along. Leroy?
Heck no, there's nothing the matter with me.
I was hoping you older boys be more thoughtful and give little Michael a chance to get his breath.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Mr. Gildersleeve. I'm not a bit winded. You see, Unc, we don't have to stop now. Nobody's tired.
Nevertheless, as your commanding officer, I order a halt. You're all tired, only you don't realize it.
But gosh, Unc.
Leroy, you heard my order. Possibly this would be a good time to have lunch, too.
Lunch now, Mr. Gildersleeve? It's only 11 o'clock.
11, Piggy? Oh, so it is. I would have guessed around 1:30. But there's an old saying, an army travels on its stomach. That's what we got to do.
I'd like to watch you.
Never mind.
Please, Unc, there's a place just a little ways ahead that's swell for lunch. It has a brook.
A brook? Oh, that sounds nice. Is that what you other boys would like, too?
Oh, boy, me for the brook. Yes, by all means.
Well, all right. We'll go on to the brook. Forward! Oh, Leroy.
Yeah, Unc?
How far is it to the brook?
About 2 miles.
Forward, march. Leroy! Oh, Leroy!
What is it, Unc?
I don't want you boys to get too far ahead of me. I'm responsible for your safety, you know.
We can't help getting ahead of you, Unc. You keep sitting down all the time.
Well, my feet are bothering me. Another thing, Leroy. We've gone a lot more than 2 miles, and I haven't seen anything that looks like a brook.
We'll be there soon, Unc.
Well, I can't wait. I'm worried about little Michael. Yeah, we better stop here and eat.
Oh.
Leroy, that's an order. We'll sit right down here in this rock and divide up the... Oh, my goodness.
What's the matter, Unc? You didn't lose the basket. Oh, boy, if he lost that basket.
Take it easy, Piggy. I just remembered. There are 4 of us, and Bertie fixed lunch for 3.
Gosh.
Nuts.
Awkward, isn't it?
Yep, awkward. What are we going to do?
Well, I don't like to say anything, Unc, but he's your fiance's nephew.
Yes, he's going to be your cousin, Leroy. And we'll all share and share alike. Now, who doesn't like ham? Who doesn't like jelly? Is there anybody here who doesn't like hard-boiled eggs? Well, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Gee, I'm hungry, Mr. Gildersleeve. So am I, Unc. Me too.
Listen, I'm hungrier than all of you put together. Well, what can we do about it?
Yeah, what can we... Say, Unc, I just remembered something. There's a little country store right up this road where we could get something to eat.
There is? How far is it, Leroy?
Only about half a mile.
Half a mile. Well, forward march.
Oh, gosh, Unc, now that we've eaten, do we have to sit here for the rest of the day?
My feet are killing me, Leroy. Besides, we haven't had any nature study on this whole hike. Yes, we'll have it now.
Nature study.
Oh, it's very valuable for any boy. Now, for instance, this tree we're sitting under. I doubt if any of you boys know what it is.
Oh!
Yeah. Oh. Quite right. Let's see. That one over there.
Maple!
You sure it isn't an elm?
Oh, no, Mr. Gildersleeve. The elm is unmistakable on account of its serrated leaves.
Yes, serrated? Oh. Where did you learn that, Michael?
I had a special course in nature study at camp last summer.
Oh, well, that takes care of the botany. Let me see now. There must be some more nature around here someplace. Is that? By George, it is.
What is it, Unc?
One of nature's masterpieces, boys. An oriole's nest.
Where?
Right there. That long gray thing. He has to stand on his head to make it.
Are you sure that's an oriole's nest, Mr. Gildersleeve? It looks like Vespis crepitans to me.
Nonsense, my boy. I'll show you the little baby orioles if you'll all be quiet. Now, if I grab this branch...
I'll jump for it, Unc. Here.
Here. Now, quiet, everybody, so you won't scare the itty-bitty birdies. Can't seem to find the opening in this nest.
I'm sure that's a Vespis crepitans, Mr. Gildersleeve. Do you know what that is?
Oh, of course I do. And this is nothing like it, Michael. I'll show you. Hey, what the dickens is the Vespis crepitans?
A hornet!
Oh, forward march!
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. Meanwhile, perhaps you remember the advice in the old saying, waste not, want not. It certainly applies these days. And that's the reason, I suppose, that so many smart homemakers are economizing with red ration points and cash by planning menus ahead, and are so ingeniously putting every bit of food to work so that nothing is wasted. One especially useful trick of practical magic that'll make leftovers really sing is to combine them with Pabstet, the delicious golden cheese food. For Pabstet melts and toasts and slices to perfection, and the whole family will go for its grand cheddar cheese flavor. What's more, Pabstet is a fine source of valuable milk nutrients, and it's highly digestible. Of importance, too, it costs only a few cents per package and just 3 red ration points. Now, your dealer may not have Pabstet the very first time you ask for it because so much dairy food is going to war, but everything is being done to keep dealers supplied. So watch for Pabstet, 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 the delicious, nourishing cheese food. Now let's get back to the great Gildersleeve, or what's left of him. He's had a good supper, and we find him now entering his den, his shoes in his hand, preparing to relax on the couch. But what's this he sees?
So, Leroy?
What's the matter, Unc?
This junk, young man. I believe I've mentioned before that I do not like to find these confounded little comic books all over my desk.
Hey, don't throw those away. They're valuable.
Don't be silly. They're nothing but trash.
No, they're not, Unc. You ought to read one.
I've got no time for such stuff.
Oh, be fair, Unc. I did what you wanted to do. I went on a hike.
Oh, thanks very much. My feet are killing me right now. Well, I suppose I should be open-minded, Leroy. And what's this one here? Is this a good one? Captain Wonderman.
Is it? He's so good he's on the radio every night. In about 5 minutes he'll be on.
Never mind. Now, what's it about?
Oh, gee, Unc, this is the best comic there is. Captain Wonder Man is the strongest man in the world. He has secret muscles.
Huh?
Here. Look at the story of Captain Wonder Man and the Nazi saboteurs.
Where does it begin?
Well, here. You see, this kid, Jackie Crumb, is a newsboy, and all of a sudden this Nazi spy grabs him, Dr. Von Denk.
Why?
Well, because he thinks Jackie knows something about Captain Wonder Man.
Well, does he?
Does he? Jackie Crumb is Captain Wonder Man.
Yes,
You begin to like it now, Unc?
not yet.
Oh, you will. But that's a secret about Jackie being Wonder Man. Nobody knows it but bona fide members of the club.
What club?
The Captain Wonder Man Club. You send 10 cents.
Never mind. I don't have to join the club. What happened to the newsboy?
Well, as soon as he's tied up, he's helpless unless he changes himself to Captain Wonder Man.
How does he do that?
That's another secret. Nobody knows but the club members.
How many members are there?
20 million.
None of them would tell?
Oh, no. You have to send 10 cents.
No, I'll join no club.
What? Well, then I'll tell you. Jackie says the mystic word, Alakazam.
Alakazam?
Alakazam. And then he becomes the strongest man in the world and the most patriotic. Look at him.
I see him. Why does he wear a cape?
The members know. They send 10
Never
cents.
mind the 10 cents. Leroy, I forbid you to read any more of this junk. And if I find any of it lying around, I'll burn it.
Gosh, Unc, don't you want me to learn to read?
Not in order to read drivel about muscle-bound men with capes. And get away from that radio. Learn to read from something good, Leroy. Here, I'll find you something up here.
The makers of Toasted Popsies present Captain Wonder Man.
Leroy! Oh! Turn off that radio.
But, Unc, you don't have to listen.
Turn it off, I say. I told you, young man, I'm trying to find something decent for you to read. Captain Wonder Man. Now be quiet for a minute.
Okay, Unc. Looking for something, Uncle Mort?
Yes, I'm looking for a book.
What one?
Oh, I don't know, a good book. Looking for something to read to Leroy.
Well, here's David Copperfield. No, I tried to read that. Oh, here's a wonderful book. I've always just loved this one.
Oh?
What is it? Little Women. Is she kidding?
Don't sneer at Little Women, my boy. My mother read it to me when I was younger than you are. It's a wonderful book.
Oh, I love it. I just love it. I've read it so many times I almost know it by heart. Please, Uncle Mort, read us Little Women.
Oh, why don't you read it, my dear? I'm tired. I'll just stretch out here on the couch while you read, huh?
Well, if you want me to.
Now, make yourself comfortable, Leroy, because I want you to sit still and listen to this.
Okay. Well, there's no use really starting it tonight, so I'd just like to read you my favorite part. Do you mind?
No, go ahead, my dear.
It's where Beth dies. You see, it's about all these sisters, Leroy, and one is Jo. She's sort of a tomboy. That's the one I always wanted to be. And then there's Beth. She isn't very strong, and, well, I'll read it to you.
All right.
The pleasantest room in the house was set apart for Beth, and in it was gathered everything that she most loved. Flowers, pictures, her piano, the little work table, and the beloved kittens. Father's best books found their way there, Mother's easy chair, Joe's desk, Amy's finest sketches. And every day Meg brought her babies on a loving pilgrimage to make sunshine for Auntie Beth. John quietly set apart a little sum that he might enjoy the pleasure of keeping the invalid supplied with the fruit she loved and longed for. Old Hannah never wearied of concocting dainty dishes to tempt a capricious appetite, dropping tears as she worked. And from across the sea came little gifts and cheerful letters, seeming to bring breaths of warmth and fragrance from lands that knew no winter. Here, cherished like a household saint in its shrine, sat Beth, tranquil and busy as ever. But nothing could change the sweet, unselfish nature. And even while preparing to leave life, she tried to make it happier for those who should remain behind. I'm sorry. Marge. I'm sorry, but it always gets me.
Oh, here, give it to me, my dear. I'll go on with it. Where are we now? Oh, yes. Joe never left her for an hour since Beth had said, "I feel stronger when you're here." She slept on a couch in the room, waking often to renew the fire, to feed, lift, or wait upon the patient creature who seldom asked for anything and tried not to be a trouble. Often when she woke, Joe found Beth reading in her well-worn little book, heard her singing softly, to beguile the sleepless night, or saw her lean her face upon her hands, while slow tears dropped through her transparent fingers.
Unc, what's the matter? But it's so sad, Leroy.
I think if you don't mind, I'll go for a little walk.
Walk?
Yes, I need the exercise.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. Just about to close up there. How are you today?
On my last legs, Peavy. Have you got anything you can recommend for sore feet?
Sore feet? You've been having a little trouble?
Yes. The kids walked me away out to Shroon Point and back, and my feet are killing me. I'd like to know what's good for them.
Mr. Gildersleeve, have you tried sitting down?
Peavy, this is no joke.
Well, I believe I have got a preparation here. Pretty good, too. I often use it myself after a hard day. So does Mrs. Peavy.
Oh? Well, let's have a look at it.
Just a minute. I can get my other glasses on here.
Yes.
Oh, yes. It goes under the name of Cogan's Foot Balm. Nice for the feet. It says here, prepare a tub of hot water, pouring contents of bottle, so on, so on.
Would you mind if I looked at it?
Immerse aching members. You stick your feet in it. Bottle sells for 15 cents.
You say you tried this thing yourself.
Oh, yeah, so has Mrs. Peavy. In fact, we sometimes spend an evening that way.
In the same tub?
Well, we use the wash boiler. It works out nicely, too. We pull up 2 chairs, and she sits at one end, and I sit at the other.
Well, sounds very clubby.
Sometimes we even work in a game of Chinese checkers.
You could have a nice game of footy-footy there, too. Well, I'll take a chance on the stuff, Peavy.
Oh, you're taking no chances, Mr. Gildersleeve. They're not exaggerating when they say on the bottle that this balm is the key to true foot joy. One treatment with this, and you'll come out feeling like a regular Captain Wonderman.
Captain Wonderman. Don't tell me you waste your time on those comics.
Well, I guess I carry as complete a stock of them as anybody in town.
So this is where they come from. Peavy, you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
If you ask me, they're a lot of trash. There's absolutely nothing in them.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that either. Have you ever looked at one carefully?
No, but I hear all I want to from Leroy about them.
Yeah, it's just possible that Leroy has overlooked something. Have you ever examined the young ladies in these drawings?
The young ladies?
I'll show you. I usually happen to have a copy under the counter here. On page 13, you will find this tasty item. There. Quite, don't you think so?
Well, I'm beginning to see your point.
Laura, her name is.
Laura?
Lady Laura. That's Captain Wonderman's lady friend.
Oh.
You'll find others, too. Care to take a copy along?
No, Peavy. I'm really not interested. I've got to be getting along with this thing. Dog tired. Got to get home and get some sleep.
Well, good night, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good night, Peavy.
Alakazam.
Alakazam.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I got the wash boil all ready. You fixing to get in hot water again?
Yeah. Very good, Bertie.
Uncle Mort, you're not starting anything now. Why, it's bedtime.
Don't you worry about me. I'll just take my shoes off and soak my tootsies for a while, and I'll be right up to bed.
I guess I'll go along then if you don't mind. Good night.
Yeah. Good night, my dear. Good night, Bertie.
Good night, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Let's see now. Water seems about right. Well, we'll put Peavy's magic potion in it now. And I'll pull up a chair. Nice and comfy. Hi, George. I haven't gone wading since I was a kid. Nice and warm and relaxing. I don't know if I can hold out, though. Hope Peavy was right. Alakazam. Alakazam.
makers of Toasted Popsies present Captain Gildersleeve.
Captain Gildersleeve! Captain Gildersleeve!
Don't disturb me now, Junior. I'm conducting an experiment which, if successful, will bring to naught all the plans of the Axis.
But Captain Gildersleeve, it's Lady Laura. Even now she is being held captive in an ancient temple on a deserted island by your old enemy.
Dr. Von Hooker. There's not a moment to lose. Alakazam.
Just think. Here we are flying over the Pacific at twice the speed of light with nothing but our superhuman powers to support us.
We got a nice day for it, too.
Look, there's Lady Laura, bound hand and foot.
Where, Junior?
Right ahead there, about 1,750 miles.
Your eyes are better than mine. And if you're right, there's not a moment to lose. Alakazam! Oh! Almost knocked my superhuman wind out. Here's Lady Laura, bound and gagged. It'll be work of only a moment to free her. There.
Why, Captain Gildersleeve. I declare you're just so strong.
Strongest mortal on Earth.
Don't move a muscle, Gildersleeve.
With my X-ray nose, I smell an old goat. So, we meet again, Von Hooker.
I have you surrounded. There's a machine gun in every nook and cranny. When I give the order...
Oh, what can we do, Captain?
Have no fear. I've gotten out of worse scrapes than this, though I can't remember when.
I shall count 10. 1.
All I have to do is say the magic word.
2.
Oh, for goodness sake, say it.
3.
Skillabooch. Oh, no, that's not it.
4.
I can't remember. Junior, where is that boy?
5.
Hocus pocus. Darn it, I can't remember the word.
6.
Think, Captain, think.
How can I think with him standing there counting?
7.
Razzmatazz. No.
8.
Rumpelstiltskin. Walla Walla.
You're cold. 9.
I can't remember the confounded word. We'll have to run for it, Laura.
Unc, wake up, wake up.
What's going on down here? Oh, my goodness, look at my kitchen.
Look at my pants.
Oh, what happened? Unc fell asleep and kicked over the wash boiler.
Oh, I had the most horrible dream.
What was it? What were you dreaming about?
Yes, what in the world were you dreaming about?
Why, Little Women. Good night, everybody.
Music on this program was under the direction of Claude Sweeten. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
I guess you'll agree that it's not only smart to be thrifty these wartime days, but it's absolutely necessary if you want to keep your 2 food budgets under control. That's a mighty good reason why you should know about Parquet, the quality margarine made by Kraft. For Parquet margarine costs a little cash and just 5 red ration points per pound. But economy is only one reason why Parquet is popular the country over. People everywhere like its delicate, appetizing flavor for many uses. You see, Parquet is a grand-tasting spread for bread and a delicious seasoning for hot vegetables. It's a real flavor shortening for baking and just about perfect for pan frying. Parquet is a real energy food, too, and contains vitamin A. If your dealer doesn't have it the first time you ask, it's due to wartime shortages and the fact that Parquet's popularity is growing very fast. But Kraft is doing everything possible to keep dealers supplied. So watch for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine made by Kraft. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as the Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, if you've noticed that family favorites like Pabstet, the delicious golden cheese food, are sometimes missing from your dealer's shelves, remember there's a very good reason. Literally millions of pounds of dairy foods are being shipped abroad to help supply energy and the important milk nutrients our fighting men need. But dealers will usually have Pabstet in stock. And smart homemakers have learned what a wonderful extender it is for a host of wartime foods. Melted into a smooth cheese sauce, the grand cheddar cheese flavor of Pabstet gives real personality to leftovers of meat and fish and vegetables fixed in dozens of different ways. Pabstet is a tasty filling for the children's sandwiches, too, and it slices perfectly for serving with dessert or just by itself. Yes, for a delicious, nourishing, and economical help in preparing meals that'll give family appetites a real lift, ask your dealer for Pabstet in the round, flat package, spelled P-A-B-S-T-E-T-T. Pabstet. Only 3 red ration points for a generous package. Well, it's Easter weekend, and Saturday afternoon finds Gildersleeve out in the side lot surveying his victory garden and wondering whether to pull the weeds now or let them grow a little bigger so they'll be easier to get hold of. It looks as if they'd grow a little bigger, for from the window of the kitchen nearby comes the smell of good things in the oven. Let's follow him in and see what's cooking.
Fee-fi-fo-fum. I smell something good. What's Bertie making there, Marjorie?
Frosting for the Easter cake.
Frosting?
Yes, sir, and I guess it's about done.
Bertie,
What is it, Mr. Gildersleeve?
you aren't going to put that delicious egg beater in the sink.
Oh, no, sir. I'm saving it for Leroy.
Leroy can lick the bowl. Give it here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yum.
Uncle Mort, you're looking cross-eyed.
I don't want to miss any of it.
Kitchen door.
I'll go, Bertie.
Well, wipe off your chin.
Gildersleeve?
Yes?
Express. Sign here.
Wait a minute. What is it?
Crate. Sign here.
I didn't order any crate.
Name Gildersleeve?
Yes?
Sign here.
Yes. Well, hold the egg beater. And hold it, too. I don't know what I'm signing this for. There.
All right. One side, Bud.
Wait a minute.
One side.
We
one
don't
side.
want that great big thing here in the kitchen.
Well, where do you want it? Make up your mind. I haven't got all day.
Listen, I've got a good mind to report you to your superior.
Brother, in 2 hours, I report to my draft board. Now, where do you want it?
All right, set it right down here. Soldier, pretty place.
Hey!
Careful. Don't you know we got a cake in the oven? Oh, that's the kind of service you get these days.
What do you suppose is in the crate, Uncle Mort?
I don't know, but we'll soon find out. Bertie, do you know where the hammer is?
Right there in the vegetable bin, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Just the place for it, too. Well, let's see now.
Careful, Uncle Mort. It might be something breakable.
Maybe I can pry the top up.
Hey, Uncle, is that the express man?
Uh-huh.
And now it's coming.
Unc, wait a minute.
There.
Look out!
Oh, my goodness, rabbits.
Rabbits! Leroy! Here, rabbit! Here, rabbit! Oh, my goodness.
Oh, now we'll never get them. They're under the refrigerator.
Maybe if we had some food, we could get them to come out.
Yeah, try some Popsies.
Rabbits don't eat Popsies.
I don't know, my dear. Popsies always tasted like rabbit food to me.
Well, I could poke under there with a broom, maybe.
Oh, no, you might hurt them. Those are very valuable rabbits. They cost me over $2.
Remind me to ask you, Leroy, where you got the $2. Here, Bunny, here, Bunny, here, Bunny, here, Bunny.
No, no, you'll never get them that way, Unc. You have to get down on your hands and knees.
And they can just stay under there.
Oh, Unc, we've got to get them out. They might get stuck under there. Those are Flemish giants. They grow fast.
Yes. All right. It'll teach them a lesson then.
Oh, there he goes.
I got him. I got one, Unc.
Oh, look. Isn't he darling?
Bring him over here, Leroy. Let me see.
Oh, he's frightened. Look, he's shivering. Let me hold him, Leroy.
No, let me hold him.
Sure, Unc. Here. Don't let him get away. That's a valuable rabbit.
Oh, isn't he cunning? Feel him, Marjorie. Feel how soft he is.
Ah.
There, little bunny. Now, don't you be frightened. Look, Marjorie, look how he wrinkles up his little nose. Would you?
Uncle Mort, you're doing it, too.
I can't help it. He's making faces at me, the little rascal.
You like him, Unc?
Oh, he's as cute as the dickens, Leroy. How did you get him?
Well, from an ad in Wonder Man Comics. I sent for them, only $2.17 express prepaid.
Where did you get the $2.17?
Oh, I got it. It's a great investment, Unc. It says in the ad. Boys, make big money raising rabbits.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't count on it, my boy. As pets, rabbits may be fine, but...
Who said anything about pets? I'm raising these rabbits to eat.
To eat?
Eat a little fuzzy, cunning, helpless little thing like that? Leroy, I think you're horrible.
Marjorie, take this rabbit and put him somewhere. I want to get to the bottom of this.
I got the other one, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, give him to Marjorie, Bertie.
There, now, Flopsy and Mopsy. Come on, we'll find a nice, safe, warm place for you, away from that awful Leroy.
Yes. Now, young man, why was I not consulted before you bought those rabbits?
Well, I wanted to surprise you, Unc, for Easter.
You surprised me, all right. Where'd you get the money?
All of it?
Of course. All of it.
Well, the 17 cents I had.
All right, but what about the $2?
Well, you know those old, rusty, no-good old roller skates I got Christmas before last?
They were very excellent skates when I gave them to you.
I thought Santa Claus gave them to me.
We won't argue about that, young man.
All right. Anyway, they were always getting in your way, and anyway, I outgrew them, and anyway, one wheel was busted, so I traded them with Piggy.
Did you tell him the wheel was busted, broken?
Well, he doesn't need all the wheels. He just wants to make a pushmobile.
Yes. Nevertheless, that was not a very honest thing to do, Leroy, was it?
Well, he swapped it for a spark coil that wouldn't spark.
I'm glad to hear you didn't get the best of it. Now, stop beating around the bush and tell me, where did you get those $2?
Well, you know the spark coil?
You just told me about it. It wouldn't spark.
Yeah, so I traded it.
Who'd you trade it to?
Michael.
Mrs. Ransom's little niece? I mean nephew?
Well, he wanted it, Unc. He kept pestering me for it.
Did you tell him it wouldn't work? Did you?
Well, gosh, Unc, you wouldn't want me to give him a spark coil that works. They're dangerous. He might get a shock.
He might get it. All right, you charlatan. What did you trade the spark coil for? Come on, what did you trade it for?
$2.
That's what we call selling, Leroy, not trading. And you sold that spark coil under false pretenses, with deliberate intent to defraud.
Oh, no, I didn't, Unc, honest.
Then what was your intention?
To get the $2.
Leroy, I honestly believe you don't know the simple difference between right and wrong.
Yeah, that's all it is, Unc. I don't know any better. Gosh, if I knew
That's
any better...
enough, Leroy. Go help Marjorie find a place for those rabbits. And see that it's not in my study. I'll take this thing up with you later.
Yeah, sure, I will. I'll find a good place for them.
Bertie, I don't know what I'm going to do about that boy. I swear I don't.
Oh, now, Leroy ain't a bad boy, Mr. Gildersleeve. He's just a boy, that's all.
Well, he needs something. I don't know what, though.
Well, if you ask me, Mr. Gildersleeve, what Leroy needs is a mother.
Yes, I'm afraid you're right, Bertie. There's not much I can do about that.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, you're young, Mr. Gildersleeve. You got your health. You even got a fiancée. And if you don't mind me asking, what is you waiting for?
By George, Bertie, that's what I'm going to ask her. And I'm going to ask her right now, too. The Easter Bunny.
Throckmorton, I'll be right down. Don't go away, you hear?
I shouldn't have said that. I got to be tough with her. This time, by George, she's going to give me an answer. I'm not like some people. You can twist them around your little finger. Leela, when are we going to get married?
What did you say?
You heard me.
Oh, gracious, Throckmorton, you're so impetuous.
Impetuous? We've been engaged now for 4 months. What's so impetuous about that? I want to know when we're going to get married.
Well, come in, won't you?
No, you come out.
Very well, Throckmorton, if you wish.
Yes. Now, we're going to sit down here on the veranda and settle this once and for all.
Yes, let's. You know, Throckmorton, you're so masterful. I hardly know you when you're like this.
Well, it's my other side. Now, let's get down to business. When do we get married? Name the date, Leela.
Well, tell me first, why do you want me to marry you, Throckmorton?
Well, because... just because.
Because what?
Because I...
Go on, say it. Because you what?
Well, I think Leroy needs a mother.
A mother? Is that all I am to you, a mother for Leroy?
Now, Leela, I didn't say that.
Well, I guess I know what you were thinking, and I can give you your answer right now.
Now, Leela, don't fly off the handle. Let's be reasonable about this thing.
Throckmorton, I am the soul of reason, I assure you. I've thought it all over, and I've decided that we have no business getting married till after the war.
After the war? But, Leela, that may be a long time.
Well, you asked me for my decision, and that's it. I'll marry you the day the war is won.
That settles it.
What?
I demand a second front. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to interrupt here for just a moment in order to present a very charming and courageous lady who has something to say to you. That she is charming is no secret to her thousands of admirers, and the proof of her courage is her 4-month expedition across the Atlantic this past winter to entertain our troops in England, Ireland, Scotland, and North Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Kay Francis.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask your attention for 1 minute. 1 minute isn't very long, but in this very brief minute that you hear my voice, men are dying for you. Dying on distant battlefields, in strange waters. Men from Nebraska, Illinois, Texas, boys from across the street, boys that you know. Right now, while I speak to you, 60 seconds in a minute. How many times 60 men are dying for you? And as they die, they are remembering home, remembering us, wanting to come home, knowing they never will. Are we worth remembering? Are we worth coming home to? No. Not unless we do all we possibly can to win this war. And our possible all is so little compared to what they give. We are not asked to give, but to lend our dollars to our government, to carry our share of the $13 billion needed in the second war loan. Lend your dollars right now, right this minute, while those men are giving their lives for you. You'll get your dollars back.
Thank you, Miss Francis.
Now let's get back to Summerfield and the great Gildersleeve. It's Easter morning, and the great man has started the day in a constructive and beneficent mood. He's intending, before donning his finery for the Easter parade, to build a rabbit hutch, but a brief inspection of the garage shows him that something is missing, namely the rabbits.
Leroy, where are your little pets?
You mean Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit?
Yes, you don't have to be so formal either.
Oh, well, they're in a perfectly safe place, Unc.
Where are they?
Don't worry about them.
Oh, Leroy!
What is it, Bertie?
Did you put those rabbits in the fireplace?
Fireplace?
There's no fire in it.
Yep.
That's their new home, Bertie. They love it there.
Well, maybe so, but they've moved out.
What?
They did?
Young man, you'll have to find those rabbits before we go to church. So get busy.
Oh, gosh, Unc, won't you help?
Well, that depends.
Say, here comes Judge Hooker over by the back fence.
Judge Hooker, huh? What's he doing around here?
Gildersleeve. Oh, Gildersleeve.
Just stay on the other side of that fence, Hooker. You owe me a fender.
You owe me a bumper. You happen to be the owner of 2 oversized, overaged gray rabbits?
Oh, my goodness. Go get them, Leroy. Those rabbits belong to my nephew, Judge Hooker. See that you don't do anything that injures them.
Injures them? Look here, I just caught him finishing up the last head of lettuce in my victory garden.
I'm beginning to like those rabbits.
Well, if I catch him over here again, I'll give him to the city pound. Here, take him, Leroy.
Thanks.
So just remember, Gildersleeve, you not only owe me a bumper, but you owe me 1 dozen heads of lettuce.
You owe me a fender, and you can take 12 heads of lettuce from my victory garden. What are you laughing at, you old nanny goat?
The rabbits ate your lettuce first.
Now, let's see. Handkerchief for the breast pocket. Need a flower for my buttonhole. Better put on the silk hat just to see how the whole thing looks. There. Ooh. Hi, George Gildersleeve. You're a handsome fellow in a cutaway. Yes, sir. Come in.
Sam, come on down. Mrs. Ransom is here, and Marjorie wants to take everybody's picture.
Oh, good idea. I'll come right now. Leroy, I wonder if you could find me a flower somewhere for my buttonhole.
Okay, what do you want, an Easter lily?
No. Leroy, just something small and suitable. Oh, hello, Leela. Mm-hmm. Oh, happy Easter.
Well, happy Easter to you, too, Throckmorton.
Oh, that's a beautiful costume, my dear. Everyone will be saying, lucky Gildersleeve.
Oh, now, Throckmorton. But you look simply angelic in your gray trousers and cutaway, doesn't he, Marjorie?
Oh, he always does. He looks all ready for a wedding.
Let's not go into that.
Come on outdoors, everybody, and we'll take your picture. Ben's got the camera out there.
Well, are you sure there's time, Marjorie? Your uncle and I are going to church.
Oh, we all are.
Of course, Leela. Come on.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. Happy Easter.
Oh, thanks, my boy. The same to you, Ben. Now, where do you want us to stand?
Oh, right there beside the lilacs would be all right.
Oh, fine. I'll put some lilac in my buttonhole.
Just stand anywhere, really. It isn't too much trouble. Now, if you could just smile, please.
How's this?
Well, I got you. That one ought to be fine.
Now, who's going to take our picture?
I'll do it, Marge.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Oh, I take better pictures than anyone in the family.
He has been lucky. All right, Leroy.
Where shall I stand, Marge?
Well, right beside me.
Here? Well, that's where I am already.
Can't you get a little closer?
Oh, I guess so.
All right, now look at her, you big goof.
Oh, I am looking at her.
Ben, honey, why don't you put your arm around her waist?
Oh, gosh, right here in front of everybody?
Why not?
Well, all right. Say, this is quite comfortable.
Throckmorton, they're so in love. Don't they look beautiful together?
Yes, they do, Leela.
They just look like an Easter magazine cover, I declare.
Yes, so do you, Leela.
Got it.
Thank you, Leroy.
Yeah, much obliged. Gee, I never enjoyed having my picture taken before.
By George, I'm glad we decided to walk, Leela.
It is nice.
Yes, sir. Oh, good morning, Dr. Pettibone. Happy Easter.
Good morning, Doctor.
He goes to a different church.
I know. Here comes old Mrs. Carrington. Don't tell me she's walking to church.
Yeah, but she'll stop for a long conversation. Oh, good morning, Mrs. Carrington. Oh, happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter to you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Happy Easter, Mrs. Carrington, and what a lovely shawl you're wearing.
Thank you, Mrs. Ransom. I'm glad you had the sense not to call it a fascinator.
Yes, you're looking awfully well, Mrs. Carrington. Did you have a good winter?
Pretty cold, pretty cold.
Yes, but now it's spring. What do you hear from your grandson? Is he still with
Oh, yes, Mr. Gildersleeve. They made him a vice president this year, and next year they're going to raise his salary.
Well, he's coming along nicely.
Oh, mercy, I'm afraid we'll all be late for church.
Oh, we must all hurry, but I'm glad to see you young people still dress up for Easter. You make a very handsome couple.
Well.
Oh, now, Mrs. Carrington.
I haven't had a chance to congratulate you formally. When is the wedding to be?
Well, it depends a little on the war.
Oh, don't wait too long. After all, we're only young once. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Ransom. Goodbye, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mrs. Carrington.
Oh, she's a wonderful old lady. I always enjoy seeing her. She makes me feel so young.
Yeah.
Come on, Throckmorton, let's run.
Run! Leela! Hey, wait! Well, Leela, there's nothing like the feeling when you've been to church on Easter. Of course, I always feel like a new man after church, but on Easter I feel even happier.
I feel the same way, Throckmorton.
I don't know what it is, the Easter hymns or something. But when the collection basket came around this morning, I put in twice as much as I'd planned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, should have planned that much in the first place, though. Oh, here comes Peavy. Happy Easter, Peavy.
Happy Easter, Mr. Peavy.
Well, a joyous Easter to you, Mrs. Ransom, and to you, too, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Just coming from church, Mr. Peavy?
Yes, I am, Mrs. Ransom. Mrs. Peavy and I attended the services together, and then I went by the shop to get this little surprise for her.
Surprise, eh? What is it, a plant?
A begonia. I've given her a potted begonia every Easter since we've been married.
Listen, Peavy, if you've given her a begonia every Easter, she couldn't possibly be surprised when you walk in with this one.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
But you've already given her 20 or 30 begonias for Easter.
31. I know because Mrs. Peavy saves the pots.
Yes. That's nice.
Yes, and when I give her this one, I know just exactly what she'll say.
What, Mr. Peavy?
She'll say, Richard Peavy, don't you know it's wicked to be extravagant?
Yes, but that's not extravagant, Richard.
Well, I know that, Mr. Gildersleeve. So does Mrs. Peavy. That's just her little way of acting surprised.
I think it's a very sweet way, too.
I do myself. Anyhow, she always says it, and then she gives me my surprise.
You get a surprise, too, huh? What's your surprise, Peavy?
A box of crystallized ginger.
Crystallized? Crystallized ginger? That's pretty strong stuff, isn't it?
Yes, but I've got a taste for it.
Yes.
And is that your surprise every year, Mr. Peavy?
Every year.
It's a wonder you don't faint from excitement.
Well, I don't faint, Mr. Gildersleeve, but I give a pretty good imitation.
Yeah, good enough to fool Mrs. Peavy.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Yes.
But when you folks have been married as long as I have, you know that our kind of surprise is more fun than a real one.
Yes, you may be right. Well, so long, Peavy. Happy Easter to you and Mrs. Peavy.
Well, the same to you and Mrs. Ransom. Good day.
Throckmorton,
Yes, Leela?
was there any war news today?
Well, apparently the Allied forces made substantial gains in El Milang region.
Throckmorton,
Yes, Leela?
isn't it wonderful that Mr. and Mrs. Peavy are so happy after all these years?
Yeah, I guess so. Of course, he's rather a strange fellow.
Throckmorton,
Yeah?
we're neither of us getting any younger, are we?
Of course not, Leela.
Throckmorton,
What is it, Leela?
how would you like to come to my house this evening for chicken fricassee? There'll just be the two of us.
Chicken fricassee? Oh, brother, I'll be there. That was a wonderful dinner, Leela.
I'm glad you liked it, darling.
Maybe I overindulged a little.
Oh, I didn't notice.
That's because I didn't overindulge any more than usual.
You were so cute sitting at the head of my table serving my dinner and all. It looked natural somehow.
Guess I'll smoke a cigar.
You know something, Throckmorton? I've been nervous in this house the last few days.
What on earth is there to be nervous about?
Oh, nothing in particular. Sometimes I think I hear strange noises in the night. But, you know, with you here, I don't feel nervous a bit.
Fine.
But when you're not here, I do feel nervous.
And maybe you ought to see Dr. Pettibone. Get some vitamins.
Oh, fish.
What did you say, Leela?
Nothing. Throckmorton, I've been thinking.
Yes, Leela?
Maybe Leroy shouldn't wait till after the war to have a mother.
Oh. Huh? Leela, Will you?
What do you mean, Throckmorton?
Could you marry me before the war is over?
Well, for Leroy's sake, I might consider it.
How about next week?
Now, Throckmorton, don't be so impetuous.
Well, June's a nice month for weddings.
Yes, it is.
June 1st.
Well, that's awfully soon.
June 1st.
Well, I think we might say the first week in June.
Oh, darling, this is the happiest Easter of my life.
Really, honey?
Sure. Why, everybody ought to be married. It's a law of nature. 2 by 2, male and female. A girl for every boy in the world.
Hey, Unc, what do you think?
Leroy, what?
Mr. and Mrs. Rabbit just had quintuplets.
Easter, like all important holidays, is a time for families and old friends to get together, or if they can't do that, at least to get in touch with one another. And so this Easter, we of the Kraft family bring you the greetings of our sponsor through its president, Mr. J.L. Kraft. Mr. Kraft.
I'm glad of this opportunity to bring Easter greetings to Kraft men and women everywhere and to the families of our boys and girls who are now in the service of their country. When we think of Easter, we naturally think of the resurrection. The two words are eternally linked together. In every Christian land today, the celebration of Easter will bring its age-old message of hope to a war-darkened world. The fact of the resurrection and the faith which it symbolizes have never been so significant to so many nations and to so many peoples in the world's history. In itself, the word resurrection is one of the most beautiful in our language. It means bringing back to life, the conquest of death, the return of hope. At this springtime of the year, all nature tells the story of resurrection. We read its meaning in the budding trees and in the miracle of nature's reawakening to vibrant life. There is still another significance to the word resurrection, to bring back to memory that which was forgotten or lost. And it is upon this meaning of resurrection that I have been reflecting on this Easter Sunday. While our boys are away fighting for freedom around the world, enduring hardships, loneliness, weariness, we on the home front have a high responsibility toward them. While they are absent, our virtues grow in their minds and our shortcomings are forgotten. Let us so live our lives that their ideals will not be shattered when they return. Let us make them as proud of us as we are proud of them. And so it seems particularly fitting to me that each of us at this Easter time should resurrect and strengthen our faith in God and in the ideals of our forefathers. That faith and those ideals on which this nation was founded and by which it grew strong and great. As youngsters, our mothers taught us to say when we pray, "Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray thee, Lord, my soul to keep." I have just had a letter from one of our own boys in North Africa in which he says that 8 men of his group kneel at their bunks every night and speak this prayer as they go to sleep. It means something to them. It meant something to us as children. Let us then, as we think of these simple prayers, resurrect the trusting faith of our childhood and approach God understandingly. Let us resurrect and renew our strength in the God-given pioneer virtues. Let us at home in our daily lives have the courage, the strength, and the fortitude of those who fight for freedom, that we and our children and they and their children may live in peace. They are counting on us, depending on us, to maintain their ideals of home and family until they join us again, and in this we cannot fail them.
The program has come to you from Chicago and Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company. Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you Bing Crosby every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. We'll hear from The Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But first, a few homemakers listening in are on the lookout for foods that are low in red ration point cost and yet high in food value. Let me suggest Parquet, the delicious, nourishing margarine made by Kraft. For Parquet costs just 5 red ration points per pound. It's one of the very best energy foods you can serve. And, of course, Parquet is an excellent year-round source of vitamin A. It's mighty important, too, that Parquet margarine has a delicate, appetizing flavor that'll perk up family appetites in many ways. Yes, Parquet is a wonderfully good-tasting spread for bread and toast and piping hot rolls, and a fine seasoning for hot-cooked vegetables. What's more, it's a real flavor shortening for your home baking, and it's grand for pan frying, too. So for outstanding flavor, for good nutrition, and for point value and cash economy, ask your dealer tomorrow for Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Just 5 red ration points per pound. Well, it's the second week in May, and May is when Summerfield really comes into bloom. But while others take their ease, Summerfield's fighting water commissioner girds himself for a Saturday morning of busy accomplishment at the office.
Gotta be going. Let's see. Briefcase, I've got it. Handkerchief in my pocket. Hat on my head. Goodbye, Bertie.
Bye, Miss Gildersleeve.
One side there, Leroy.
So long, Unc. Don't let anybody put anything over on you.
When did anybody ever put anything over on me?
Are you kidding?
Yes.
Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yes, Bertie.
Are you going to be home for lunch today?
No, Bertie, I'm afraid not. Busy day ahead. Will that upset your plans?
Oh, no, so that means we can have a 16-point dinner.
Yeah. Well. Leroy, you know something?
What, Unc?
I do believe this grass is getting long enough to mow.
Oh, now, Unc.
Get the jump on it, my boy. It's the only way. Never let it get ahead of you.
Gosh, you're liable to stunt its growth if you cut it now.
Just once over lightly with a lawnmower, Leroy. It won't do the grass a bit of harm. It'll do you a lot of good. I'd mow it myself if I weren't so busy.
Yeah. Throckmorton. Hi, Mrs. Ransom.
Oh, hello, Leela. Leroy, stick in your shirt tail. You look disgusting.
Throckmorton, you're not leaving.
Well, yes, I was. I was just on my way to the office, Leela. Busy day.
But what about your promise?
Promise?
You were going to go over the list of wedding invitations with me, who we were going to send them to and all.
Oh, so I was. Well, I'll tell you what, Leela. You just decide. Anything you decide's all right with me.
But aren't you interested in who comes to our wedding, Throckmorton?
Well, of course, Leela. I'm very interested. It's just that I've got a lot of important things to do down at the office.
Is anything more important than our wedding?
Watch it, Unc. It's a booby trap.
Leroy, I think we can dispense with your presence now.
Yes, run along, Leroy, and play with some of your little friends.
What a character.
Now come and sit down on the porch with me, Throckmorton. It won't take long.
Yes, but Leela...
You've been putting it off, but we've just got to tend to it now. We've got to order the invitations, and engraving takes time. Sit down beside me.
I don't know anything about these things, Leela.
Well, I've made up a sort of a tentative list here. Now, first there's my great-aunt Elizabeth.
Oh, before I forget it, put down the McGees, Fibber and Molly. I'm going to be sure to have them.
Well, let's discuss that later. We can't just invite everybody, you know. It's a small church.
Well, Fibber McGee is a small man.
Well, we'll get to them. But my great-aunt Elizabeth, we've got to invite her because when Beauregard and I were married, she sent us a chafing dish.
We can't use more than one chafing dish.
Oh, silly. And there's George William Hungerford. He's a sort of a cousin of Beauregard's. You know, it was the most awful thing. Beauregard and I never thought to invite George William, and he sent us a dozen hand-painted service plates with pheasants on them. I know Beauregard would never forgive me if I didn't invite him this time.
Well, we want Beauregard to rest easy. Send George William a pass.
Well, then there's Aunt Ella and Uncle Chase, and I thought I'd kind of like to invite poor little old Darwin Shaw. Well, aren't you going to ask me about Darwin?
What about Darwin?
Well, poor Darwin. He was terribly in love with me at the time I got engaged to Beauregard. There was a sort of a misunderstanding, and somehow he got the idea that I was engaged to him. Oh, it was terribly embarrassing. He threatened to shoot himself if I married anybody else, but he didn't. He's in real estate.
And still hasn't shot himself?
Oh, no, he's doing real well, they tell me. But he's never married. I thought it would be nice if we invited him.
Oh, yeah, invite him and tell him to bring his six-shooter, Leela.
And then, of course, we've got to invite Beauregard's mother.
Listen, Beauregard had his wedding. What about my friends, Leela? I have a few friends, you know.
Of course, Throckmorton. That's why I wanted you to go over the list with me. Now, who would you like to invite?
Well, there's Fibber McGee and Molly.
Yes, you mentioned them. Who else?
The McGees live next door to me, you know, in Wistful Vista.
Yes, I know. Who else, Throckmorton?
McGee. Well, there's the McGees. I can't give you the whole list now, Leela. Look, it's late. I've got to get down to the office. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go over the whole thing with you this afternoon.
Well, do you promise?
Promise.
Cross your heart?
Cross my heart. I'd do it right now, but I've got a million things on my mind.
Throckmorton?
Yes, Leela?
Aren't you forgetting something?
My briefcase.
Oh, no. Not your briefcase.
No? What then?
Well, I never had to remind Beauregard when he went off to the office.
Oh. Goodbye, honey.
That's better.
Beauregard. Let's see now. Hardly know where to begin here. Oh, here's a letter. Dear Mr. Gildersleeve, it has recently come to our attention that you're about to embark upon the happy venture of matrimony. Allow us to be the first to congratulate you on this important step in life. Well, have to send them an invitation. As a man of foresight, we know that you will want to look to the future, and when the time comes that we may supply you, what is this? Faithfully yours, Summerfield Diety Service. Oh. What else have we got here? Here's another one. Dear Mr. Gildersleeve, you call yourself a water commissioner? Oh, my goodness.
All right, Gildy, we're closing up here now. Come on.
Oh, hello, Judge. Dr. Pettibone. How are you, Doc?
Get your hat, Gildersleeve. You're coming with us.
What do you mean?
Have you forgotten what day this is?
No, it's Saturday.
Well, it's also opening day at the club.
By George, so it is, Horace. Opening day.
Come on, we got our golf clubs in the car. We'll stop at the house, pick up yours. Pars will meet us out at the club.
Oh, gee, I'd like to, fellas, but I can't. Not today.
What do you mean you can't?
Sure, they can't open the golf season without us, the old foursome. You know that.
I know, fellas, but you better just go along without me.
Nonsense. You want to get out in that old course and get some fresh air.
Doctor's orders, Gildy.
Gosh, I'd like to, but I can't. I've got important things to do.
What have you got to do that's so important?
Well, things. Besides, I promised.
Promised who?
Leela.
Uh-oh.
I promised her I'd help her with a list of invitations for the wedding.
Gildersleeve, don't tell me she's got you tied to her apron strings already.
I guess we know who's going to wear the slacks in that family.
No, see here, Hooker.
Alas, poor Gildersleeve. I knew him well. Another good man gone wrong. Well, come on, Judge. I guess we'll just have to find somebody else.
I'm sorry, Gildy, old man. We're going to miss you out there. Lovely day, too.
Gee, I'd like to, fellows.
You know that dog-leg hole you always had trouble with? Well, they straightened it out now. They say you can drive the green in one if you're lucky. I only mention it in passing.
Now, don't urge him, Doc. Don't urge him. Maybe Gildy's doing the wise thing. After all, he's getting on in years.
Who is?
Perhaps he knows best. If he's reached the time of life when he feels he ought to settle down and just spend his declining years puttering around the house, I think we should let him.
Listen, you old goat, I'll give you 2 strokes a hole and beat the pants off you.
Well, come on, then. What are we waiting for?
Well, boys, all even up to the 18th green. Pretty close match, I'd say.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for Gildersleeve's hole-in-one, we'd have beat you long ago. Lucky stiff.
Yeah, don't call it luck, Judgy. I was just trying to make a hole-in-one, you know.
Would you mind not laughing when I'm about to putt, Gildersleeve?
Oh, sorry, Powers. Go right ahead.
Thank you.
That's a beauty, partner. You're surely down in 5.
Never mind the gab, Judge. Go ahead and shoot.
I'll shoot all right. It's a very difficult putt.
Nothing to it, Judgy. Just relax. That's the secret.
Gildersleeve, if you don't behave, I won't print your hole-in-one in the paper.
All right, Powers. You can't take a little joke. Shoot, Judge.
shot, Hooker. You're sure of a 5 yourself. Go ahead, Pettibone.
Thank you. Say, it almost went in.
Concede your 5, Doc.
Thanks.
Looks like we'll have to play some extra holes.
Not if I sink my putt, Judge. If I sink this, we win.
Oh, don't be silly. That's an 18-footer.
If I can sink him from 120 yards, I can sink him from 18 feet. Every shot a little gem, fellas. Stand back, everybody. Quiet.
Nobody's making a sound.
I want it quiet anyway. Now, watch this.
Gildersleeve, don't get fancy. This is no time to try a one-handed putt.
Oh, that's one of my specialties, Doc. Look, every shot, a little gem. Yeah. Pay off, boys, pay off. Nice hot shower. That's the best part of the game. We were sailing along on a moonlight bay.
Oh, that's terrible.
Cheer up, Judge. It'll be your turn to win someday.
That's right, Judge. Next time I'll be your partner.
All the
Oh, forget it, Powers. Come on, let's sing.
Yeah. We were sailing along on a moonlight bay. We could hear the voices singing. They seem to say, you have stolen my heart. Now don't go away. As we sang love's old sweet song on moonlight day.
Not so bad.
Well, it was fine except for you, Judge. I think your throat has burned out a berry.
That reminds me, the Cokes are on the winners.
Huh?
Oh, Eddie, Phil. Ah, those doggone boys.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Eddie, get the drinks ready and give Mr. Gildersleeve the check.
Yes, sir.
Well, fellas, here comes the old cold finish. Hang on to your hats now, boys. Give me a towel, somebody.
Gildersleeve, I can see you've put on a little weight.
Huh?
And what's more, I can see where you've put it.
Well, you're my doctor, Pettibone. If I'm overweight, it's your fault.
Oh, nonsense. All you need is a little more exercise.
That's easier said than done, Pettibone. His lady friend doesn't like to let him go out afternoons, you know.
That's not true. My time is absolutely my own.
Well, I was going to ask you, could you play in our poker game tonight?
Oh, no. He's got to spend the evening choosing his wedding guests.
Oh, is that so?
Maybe that's his idea of a good time. Now, Throckmorton, should we invite Auntie Grace and Uncle Henry?
Hey.
Whatever you say, dear.
No, cut it out, Pettibone.
The wedding just won't be a wedding unless we invite Cousin Percival.
Hooker, I'm warning you.
I can't stand Cousin Percival.
Powers, would you care to step outside?
I can't, you darn fool. I haven't got any clothes on.
Oh. Well, then cancel my subscription to your newspaper. Today.
Don't you want to read about your hole-in-one?
Cancel it tomorrow.
Now, boys. Eddie, where are those coats? Eddie!
Coming, Judge.
Well, what about this poker game, Gildersleeve?
Gentlemen, I'm at your service. And I'll show you that in poker as in golf, Lady Luck sits on the shoulder of the best player.
Oh, for the love of...
He's just jealous, that's all.
Stockaroo. Just a minute. Do you, Miss Gildersleeve?
Oh, thank you, Eddie. Some gentleman calling me?
Gentlemen? No, sir. No, indeedy. Step up and tell her you're going to play poker tonight, Gildy.
Let's hear you put her in her place, Throckmorton.
Remember, Gildersleeve, never ask a woman. Tell her.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell her. Hello? Hello, Leela. Yes, I decided I'd play a little The doctor said I needed some exercise. Fellas, please. But Leela, I didn't understand it was definite for this afternoon. But I thought if I...
This program comes to you by electrical transcription.
But Leela...
Tell her about the poker.
Oh, Leela, we'll cut that out, Powers. What was that, Leela? Oh, Leela, don't say that. Don't cry, Leela. I've got good news for you. Yeah, I made a hole-in-one.
We were sailing along.
Quiet, fellas. But Leela. Please, fellas. But Leela. Oh, shut up. Quiet! Not you, Leela. Leela! Now, look what you did. My girl hung up on me.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in a few seconds. Meanwhile, along with the suggestion that planning family menus in advance will save you points and money, I have another thought that may prove useful. Shop early in the week if you possibly can, and early in the day. That'll help your dealer, and it'll help you, too. He'll be more likely to have on hand the foods you've planned to buy, the outstanding red stamp values like Parquet, the delicious, nourishing margarine made by Kraft. It's worth shopping early to buy Parquet. For just 5 red ration points a pound, you buy a grand-tasting spread for bread that's equally fine for many other uses. You'll find it an appetizing seasoning for hot vegetables, a real flavor shortening for baking, and it's just about perfect for pan frying. Now, if it happens that your dealer doesn't have Parquet margarine the first time you ask for it, it's because of wartime shortages and Parquet's growing popularity. But Kraft is doing everything possible to keep dealers supplied. So ask for the vitamin A fortified energy food Parquet, P-A-R-K-A-Y. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Now, returning to the great Gildersleeve, we find him glumly finishing up his supper with Leroy, while Marjorie, dressed to go out, sits waiting impatiently for her boyfriend, Ben.
Mr. Gildersleeve, I hate to see you peck at your food like this. I ain't seen you eat such a light supper since the day you took Leroy to the circus.
Well, I can't help it, Bertie. Marjorie, don't you want something to eat? A little celery?
No, thank you. I'm mad now, and I'll just wait for Ben if I starve to death.
Where are you going, anyhow?
We were supposed to go to Bishop's Chop House for dinner, but we're so late now we'll never get a table. So we'll stand there for an hour, and by that time the meat will be gone, and by the time we've finished our chicken a la king, we'll be too late for the first show at the Majestic, so we'll stand in line there for an hour.
Well, the guy's probably run out of gas again.
Wouldn't be at all surprised.
Now, don't be too hard on the boy, my dear. He probably didn't mean to be late.
Oh, you men always stand up for each other.
Now, Ben's a nice boy, but I don't think you ought to mope over him.
No, fair one, do not pine for Benjamin.
Oh, for goodness sake.
There is another who could love thee truly till death do us part. Kiss me.
Oh, stop it, Leroy.
Let me take you in my arms. Let me fold you to my bosom. Let me...
Leroy, stop that dribble.
Oh, gee, I was just trying to cheer things up a little. You and Marge are so lovesick, it's terrible.
I am not
Neither am
lovesick.
I.
Mr. Gildersleeve, could I interest you in a little dessert? It's chocolate pudding with vitamins B, D, and G.
Chocolate pudding? Bertie, we've been having chocolate pudding all the time lately.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, we ain't had chocolate pudding since week ago Tuesday. And I believe that was raspberry.
Huh? Give both helpings to Leroy, Bertie. I'm not myself this evening.
Not by a plateful. I'll go, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, there he is. 45 minutes late.
Good evening, Mr. Ben.
Oh, good evening, Bertie. Hello, Marjorie. Mr. Gildersleeve.
Hello, Ben.
Leroy.
Oh, Ben.
Well, good evening.
Ben, you didn't by any chance run out of gas, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Bingo!
Leroy.
Yeah, but that wasn't the reason I...
Ben Waterford, you make me so mad I could spit.
But, gosh,
Here we are an hour late, and we'll miss dinner, and we'll miss the show.
But, Marjorie...
Now, you can wait for me for a change. I'm going upstairs and change my dress.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Ben, my boy, they're all alike.
Well, Mr. Gildersleeve, if all the women act like that, all the men must be crazy.
They are.
We are crazy, we are crazy, we are nuts, oh, we are nuts. Happy little morons,
Leroy, that will do. You may leave the room, young man.
I want to hear you and Ben discuss Dave.
Young man, go instantly.
Okay, what a character.
What was that?
Nothing at all.
He's a great kid.
He's a pain in the neck.
Well, that too. Gee, suppose Marge is ever coming down?
Oh, yes, my boy. Just want you to worry a little.
Well, I am.
When she comes down, there's just one thing to remember, Ben. Never ask a woman. Tell her.
Tell him, huh?
That's the secret.
That sounds like one of those good theories, but you don't know if she'll fly till you get her in the wind tunnel.
Huh? Oh. Yeah. Well, you take an example now, Ben. Take the case of a certain party I know. We'll call him Mr. A. He played golf recently when his fiancée expected him to spend the afternoon at her house.
Was she sore?
Oh, brother.
Well, Ben, have you got enough gas to get us downtown?
Well, sure. I had a gal in the back seat, but that wasn't what made me late.
It wasn't.
No, I was fixing up this little kind of a present for you. I hope you... Oh, here.
Oh, Ben, why didn't you tell me? Oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Gosh, what about me?
Oh, I just can't wait to look at it. Have you got a knife?
Oh, I left it in my other pants. New suit.
Here's my cigar cutter. No good for cigars, but fine for string. Here.
Oh, twin bracelets. Oh, Ben, they're beautiful.
I made them myself. Made them out of piston rings. I polished them on the lathe down at the shop.
I thought they were handcuffs, my boy.
Oh, Uncle Mort.
Huh?
Oh, they're just lovely. Ben, you were so sweet.
Thanks. Well, shall we get started?
Yes, if you've forgiven me.
Forgive you? Oh, gosh.
Well, good night, Uncle Mort.
Good night, my dear. Good night, my boy. Ben.
Yeah?
I think you've solved the problem of Mr. A.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. Kind of thought I'd be seeing you today.
Say, Peavy, you've got to help me out.
Well, that's what we druggists are in business for.
Peavy, have you ever been in a spot where you had to think fast how to please a woman?
Mr. Gildersleeve, I've never been out of it.
Well, I'm in that spot right now, Peavy. I got into a little trouble this afternoon, sort of fell among thieves, and now I've got to go over and face her. I thought maybe if I brought her a little gift of some kind, you know, kind of dazzle her and take her mind off things.
Very difficult to do. Very.
Yeah, it is, huh? You don't think she'd accept the gift?
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. She'll accept your gift, all right, but then she'll get right back to the point.
Oh, I see.
Unless you happen to hit upon some particular weakness.
Weakness? How do you find that?
Well, the only way I know is trial and error. Now, in my own case, I was fortunate.
Oh?
I discovered Mrs. Peavy's weakness early.
Oh, what is her weakness? Maybe it would give me a clue.
Well, sir, I remember it was Atlantic City on our honeymoon. We were staying at the Breakers. Mrs. Peavy came into a small sum of money just before we were married, so we stayed there overnight.
Yeah. Oh, well, go on, Peavy.
Quite an establishment, the Breakers. Quite an establishment. I remember John Philip Sousa was opening at the Steel Pier that same weekend, and we...
You told me about that, Peavy. Get to the point, will you? What was it you discovered about Mrs. Peavy?
Well, you know, it's a funny thing.
Yeah?
That woman has a positive mania for saltwater taffy.
Yes. Taffy?
Saltwater taffy. I bought her a 2-pound box there on the boardwalk, and I never heard another word out of her the whole trip. Of course, saltwater taffy is pretty sticky stuff.
Yes. Peavy, you've just given me an idea.
What's that?
Have you got any saltwater taffy?
No, Mr. Gildersleeve, I haven't. I'm sorry.
Then what's the use of telling me all this? Peavy, you can waste more time than any living mortal I know.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I haven't any saltwater taffy, but I'll tell you what I have got.
Yeah, what?
Some nice assorted chocolates. And they're hard to get these days.
Just the thing. Wrap it up, Peavy.
I have them already wrapped. It saves time.
Oh.
That'll be $1.63.
Okay, here.
Oh, Mr. Gildersleeve, there's just one thing. Perhaps I should have thought of it before.
Yeah, what was that?
The selection of chocolates you have there contains rather a large proportion of chewy pieces.
Well, that's all right. What about it?
Merely a precaution. You don't mind if I ask rather a personal question?
Go ahead, Peavy. You're a druggist.
About the lady in question.
Huh?
Are her teeth, shall we say, her own?
I've never asked her, Peavy, but I have every reason to believe that they are. Good day.
Good day, Mr. Gildersleeve, and good luck.
sailing along on Moonlight Bay. We could hear the voices singing, they seemed to say,
Well,
you have stolen my... Don't go away.
Mr. Gildersleeve, will you kindly take your foot out of my dog?
Leela, let me explain. You didn't give me a chance this afternoon. You see, this thing came up.
I have heard all the explanation I care to, Throckmorton. I am not interested in any explanations that come from locker rooms.
Leela, I've been a foolish boy, and I'm sorry. I've come to ask your forgiveness.
Well, there are some things a woman just can't forgive, Throckmorton. And one of them is when a person says he'll go over an invitation list with her, and then he doesn't.
But Leela, wait a minute. Look, I brought you a present.
Present?
Uh-huh. All for you.
Well, you can come in, but only for a minute.
Leela, you're an angel. You know, sometimes I think I don't know how lucky I am.
Sometimes I don't think you do either, Throckmorton.
Here, from me to you, with love.
Well, maybe I have been too hard on you.
Sure, a man can make mistakes. Go ahead and open it. After all, we're all human. You wouldn't love me if I weren't human, would you, Leela?
No, I guess not, Throckmorton. Gracious, I'm so excited. I wonder what's in it.
Oh, I'll tell you. It's candy.
Candy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so long since I've had any. Throckmorton, you're a...
Leela, what is it?
Mr. Gildersleeve, you may take your candy and go elsewhere with it.
Huh?
Here.
What's this? What if you're careworn and wrinkled? What if your hair's turned to gray? To me, you'll always be Mother, the dear one we honor today. Oh, Peavy! Well, hello, boys. Make lots of noise. Deal me in.
Gildersleeve. Well, I'll be darned.
You're surprised to see me, huh, fellas? I told you I'd be here. Deal me in.
I never thought you'd make it. How'd you get away?
No problem at all. I simply said, Leela, I promised the boys I'd play poker tonight, and I always keep my promises. And she said, all right, dear, just whatever you think best. Good night, everybody.
Music on this program was under the direction of Claude Sweeten. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen in again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Are you puzzled with the main dish problem? Many women are these days. There's not only the money budget to consider, but also a ration stamp budget that can't be replenished with all the money in town. Well, here's one smart purchase that's easy on both budgets. It's Kraft Dinner, the product that gives you delicious macaroni and cheese in just 7 minutes cooking time. Yes, with Kraft Dinner, you get a nourishing main dish for 4 people, an economical main dish in a hurry. And the family will like Kraft Dinner macaroni and cheese. The macaroni is so fluffy light, and the cheese flavor is all through it. You see, each package of Kraft Dinner contains an envelope of Kraft Grated along with the special quick-cooking macaroni. You cook the macaroni just 7 minutes in boiling water. With the Kraft Grated, you simply sprinkle the cheese goodness through and through the macaroni in a jiffy. Your main dish is ready, a main dish you can repeat time and time again. And here's an exciting part of the news I've been holding back. Kraft Dinner takes only 1 red ration point. Ask your food dealer for Kraft Dinner. This is the National Broadcasting Company.